So about a week ago, I made an announcement in my Discord server saying that I would be going over some card concepts in a video, and I also said that if anybody wanted a chance to be in the video to submit their card concept in a channel in my Discord server, and today that's exactly what I'm going over. Before we start, we need to go over a few things. First, I do videos like this and build ratings once every demo, so if you want to be a part of those videos, join my Discord server in the pinned comment. Second, I want to clarify that these are not official cards, as they are just card concepts made by the fans that could be in the game, but whatever you see in the video is not official. Third, I just want to give a special thanks to Dusk, as he made so many card art for the cards you see on screen, and every time we go over card art made by him, I will quickly mention it. Alright, enough yapping, let's get into the card concepts. Alright, so our first card concept is made by Val. This is Subspace Trip Mine, and it's an action card. It costs 5 SP, but they did not say how much BP it costs. When used, the user drops a Subspace Trip Mine, and the next enemy to attack the user will have it explode, giving them Dizzy level 2 for 3 turns and dealing 2 damage. There is also a 30% chance that they will also get Subspace level 1 for 4 turns. What this new effect does is it works like poison, but it has a 60% chance to spread to nearby enemies each turn. It also replaces Dynamite. First, I just want to say I like how this card replaces Dynamite, and I do hope in the future we do get some cards to replace like the other options that replaces Rocket Boots, Dynamite, Ghost Potion, etc, etc. Second is, I'm not sure how I feel about this card. I think it's like Dizzy, but better? I like the new effect, how it works like poison, but a 60% chance to spread to nearby enemies each turn is kinda overpowered. But overall, I like the card, I like the concept. On to the next one. This next card is made by Noir, and it's called Fendoff. It's an action type card, and it costs 1 BP to equip and 2 SP to use. What you do is when you use this card, you hold up your sword in a defensive stance and you gain a 20% guard window. Performing a super guard will counter and deal the normal sword damage plus any extra damage cards you have equipped. For non-counterable attacks, you will have the dodge and block like normal, but you also still get the 20% guard window increase. When in solo, it also acts similar to Defend, where your second turn will be skipped if you use it. I love the idea of the card, but to me, it kind of feels like a better Thorns, because Thorns you get like debuffs and drawbacks of using it, but with this card, you don't really get any drawbacks. It's just pure positive, and it's kind of really cheap to use, especially if it like helps you dodge and counter moves. So I do think it would need some tweaking. Maybe have it disable your ball card, and then make it cost more BP and SP to use, but other than that, I do like the idea. The next card is made by Kit Kat Cap, and it's called Quick Thinker. Quick Thinker is a passive type of card, and what it does is you gain +1 SP for every individual super guard performed. This does not include blocking, deflected attacks, the invisible status effect, and not super guarding when you have the dodgy status effect. It costs 1 to 2 BP to equip, and it has negative, having -10 guarding window. And honestly, I think I really like this idea. I think it's a good card, and it rewards people who like block or super guard perfectly, and I do think it would be a good addition for the game. This next card was also made by Noir, and it's called Weak Point. It's an action type of card, and it costs 6 BP to equip and 5 SP to use. Now what it does is when you use this card, you scan all the enemies in the battle and apply level 2 defense down for 3 turns. Enemies with negative defense will take more damage depending on how much negative defense they have. And the max negative defense they can have is 2. And honestly, again, I really like this card. I do think it is overpowered, even though it costs 6 BP to equip and costs 5 SP to use. I would lower the BP by 1 and have it have like some sort of drawback, like it's harder for you to dodge or something. But other than that, I do like the card. I think it's really good. This card concept was made by Fan. I'm just gonna call you Fan because I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's called Duo Ball. It is a ball card, obviously, and it costs 1 BP to equip and 3 SP to use. This is just like the normal ball, but it has 2 attack states, Hard Ball and Acid Ball. These states can be switched by pressing space while it's in the air, but the default state is the Hard Ball. The hard ball deals 4 damage and deals dizzy for 2 turns, while the acid ball deals 2 damage and deals poison for 3 turns. Honestly, my thoughts on this card are like indifferent. I like the idea of having like 2 ball cards in one and having a card like swap between states, but it just being a dizzy ball and then an acid ball or poison ball is kind of just like, in my opinion, lackluster. But I do like the concept of having like 2 different types of balls in once. Maybe you could expand on that or something, but overall I like the card concept, but I do think it could be improved. This card concept was made by Dusk and it's Gravity Coil. This card replaces ball, and how this works is you jump up into the air and strike your enemies when falling down with a powerful kick. If you fail the action command, you will do no damage. However, landing the action command with no attack buffs will deal 5 base damage. And honestly, they didn't provide the BP or SP cost, so I can't really like judge it fairly. But I like the idea. Just doing 5 damage is kind of boring though, but I understand it's like a new weapon type of class, so maybe there could be like more cards added to this class as you go on. But overall, I think it's a decent card. I really like the card art. This next card is called Safety Shirt, and this was made by Packfire. This card is a passive type of card, and it protects the user from fatal attacks that are enough to reduce the player's HP to 0. When this user is hit by such an attack, Safety Shirt activates, leaving them with 1 HP instead of being knocked out. This effect can only trigger once per battle, and this card costs 3 or 4 BP to equip. I do really like this card concept, and I think it's honestly, in my opinion, perfect. He did also say we could balance it out by negating 1 defense down if this player uses like this card, but honestly, I don't think it needs any debuff since it only triggers once per battle. I would understand if it triggered like twice or 3 times per battle, but since it's only once, I don't think there needs to be any downside. I would make it 2 BP, not 3 or 4 BP though, but that would be like the only suggestion I would really have. I think this card is literally like near perfect. It's a really good card concept. This card concept was made by Lynn, but the art was made by Dusk. It's called Status Master. It's a passive type of card, and you get a buff applied to yourself whenever a bad status effect is applied. For example, if you got an attack debuff, you get a defense buff until it is cleansed. If you got a defense down debuff, you get a charge buff until it is cleansed. Same goes on and on and on. There's like a whole list, but I'm not gonna read all that. You guys like get the point. But honestly, I do like the card, but I kind of feel like this might be a little bit overpowered, even with it only being 1 stack available. So I would increase the BP cost to like 5, and then I would say that's generally fine, but I wouldn't really know, as we would have to see how it like affects in game. But I do like the concept. I think it's a really cool concept. This card concept was made again by Lynn, but the art was made by Dusk. This is Speed Coil, and it's a new weapon, and it's a passive type of card. It replaces Sword with the Speed Coil, and it deals +2 more damage than Sword. You dash over at an enemy and push him over, which will cause chain damage. They provided an example of chain damage, but I'm not really sure since it's just numbers going up. So I'm sorry, but if they could clarify in the comments, I will probably heart that comment. But this attack costs 1 SP to use if not under charge, and change damage isn't affected by damage effects except for night. The action command is the player needs to repeatedly press the action bar and both bars will fill up. They later explain what both bars do and how to fill them up, but like honestly, the wording with this card concept is a little bit confusing, so I can't really form my thoughts because I don't really know what charge damage does either. So I'm sorry, but I can't really like give solid feedback or my opinions on it. But I do like the card art, and I do like the concept of like speed coils being in the game as weapons, so that's cool. Sorry, but if you want to clarify in the comments, I'll probably pin or heart it. But on to the next card concept. This card concept was made by Alt-Ray, and the name of this card concept is from Dusk. It's called Thunderball. Thunderball is a passive type of card that costs 3 BP to equip, and what it does is it basically gives you ticks every time you use a ball to attack. The ticks that is given to you is based on the enemy's HP. For example, if you attack an 8 enemy HP, you will gain half of that. but if it's 9 enemy HP, you might gain 4 or 5 ticks. It's a 50-50 chance. This card is basically just for ticks farming, and that is it. It is just a passive ball card that is just made for grinding. I do think instead of it costing 3 BP, have it cost 2 BP, but it is a really good card. I like it. I wonder if this affects bosses, like say we do Griefer and it's like 100 HP, if I defeat him and he will give me 50 ticks. If so, I could see that being a little bit overpowered, but it's still a good card concept overall and I like it, so yeah. This card concept was made by Ivy and it's called Gambit. It costs 2 BP to equip and it's an action type of card. What it does is it takes 50% of your HP and you place it on a bet, basically. It makes all enemies target the player and reduces the player's defense to 0 for only 1 turn. And at the end of the enemy turn, if the player does not take any damage at all, they are refunded the HP staked, as well as gaining +2 attack and feel fine for 1 turn, while also granting level 1 dodgy. Basically, you gamble your own life in return for a high reward. So basically, high risk, high reward type of card. And if you know me, I love gambling cards, so instantly 10 out of 10. In all seriousness though, I do like this type of card, and I like how it's like a really risky type of card, but if you are able to dodge all the effects without being hit once, you get rewarded greatly. I do think the BP cost of this should be up to like 4, because it is a high reward even though it's risky to use. But overall, I really love the card. This card was made by Gavin and it's called Time's Up. It's a passive type of card that costs 2 BP, and here's what the card does. When equipped, the user does +1 damage, but their health goes down every 3 seconds. The damage taken is reduced by 1, but when this user gets to like 0 HP when they're dead, the user explodes, and its effects disable when resurrected. I love the idea of this card, but I would recommend like maybe the user doing some damage when they like, you know, explode and they die, maybe like 5 damage when they explode. And I do like how it's another passive type of card that gives you damage, but you get a debuff in return. I think honestly this card is like really unique out of all the ones I've seen. I think this has to be like one of the most unique ones, and I really like it. There's not much to give my opinions on. It's a good card. My only recommendation is to like do some damage when the person explodes while using it. This card was again made by Alt-Ray, but the card art was made by Dusk. It's called Heartbeater. Heartbeater costs 5 HP to use but needs 2 BP to be equipped, and it cannot be stacked up. This card can be obtained with a 1% chance of dropping from the healer entity Fella from Demo 3. What this card does is basically it's a normal sword attack, but whoever you hit becomes your ally for 5 turns. However, it can only be used on enemies with or lower than 12 HP. And -5 HP to use, plus 1 ally to your team. Honestly, this does sound overpowered when looking at it, and I think it would have to be nerfed, because like, imagine just attacking like 3 motivate enemies and they all become your ally. It does sound overpowered, and I don't really know how you would balance it, especially in like boss fights when you kill the minions or attack the minions. So yeah, I do like it's a sword card though, and it is unique, but those are my thoughts on it. This next one is again made by Lynn, and the card art was made by Dusk. This is called Rest. It's a passive type of card, and it costs 2 BP to equip, and the max stacks are 3. Regen 2 HP when defending, 3 HP when passing, and 4 HP when defending in single player. For every upgrade in HP you invest, HP goes up by 2. And it's just you heal when you defend, that's it. And honestly, I do like the concept of this card, but I feel as if it's a little overpowered. Just reduce the HP regained by 1. Cause like, imagine you equip all 3 stacks, you get 6 HP from defending. It's a little overpowered. So I would just make it +1 HP when defending. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. I do think it's a good concept, just that one little tweak and it's fine. This one was again made by Ivy, but the card art was made by Dusk. It's called SP Nuke. It costs 3 BP to equip, and in battle it costs 100% of your SP, and a minimum of 5 SP is required to cast it. It summons a nuke to do a lot of damage to a single enemy. It does 3 base damage, but you get 1 extra damage for every 5 SP consumed, which is rounded down. It also ignores enemy defense. And honestly, this card is super unique, and I like how it costs all of your SP to do like 1 single big strike. But I do think the base damage should be 5 damage and then just keep it as is. I think everything about it though is perfect other than the 3 damage. I do think it should be changed to 5 damage, but it's literally perfect. I really like it too. It's a really unique idea. This one was again made by Fand, and it's called Winged. It costs 5 BP to have and 5 SP to use. It's a strategy type of card, and when you use this card, you grow wings for 3 turns, making enemies that use melee attacks not be able to attack you for 3 turns. It's a very simple, very plain card, but that's not a bad thing. And honestly, I do feel like this should not apply to bosses. If like some bosses have melee attacks, I do not think it should apply to them. It's a straightforward card, and honestly, in my opinion, I don't think anything needs changing. It's kind of just like an off-brand Ghostwalker, but the cost and BP of it is high, so like it kind of evens it out. I think it's a perfect card actually. This one is from Escape Convict, and the card art was made by Dusk. It's called Bloodless. It's a passive type of card that costs 4 BP to equip, and basically you get a level 1 charge power up after killing an enemy with 5 to 12 HP. You also get a level 2 charge power up from killing an enemy that has even more than 12 HP. Even though, again, it's a very simple card, it's very effective. I don't think it should cost 4 BP, maybe 3 BP, because a level 1 charge and a level 2 charge isn't really that good for it to cost like 4 BP. But other than that, it's a very simple, very straightforward card again, and I don't really think it needs much changing. It could be useful for like common fights or the pit fights, but not really for boss fights, if you know what I mean. This card concept was made by Ace, and it's called Call Flame Warrior. It's another call card dropped out of 5% chance from, Flame Warriors, and it costs 2 BP to equip and 3 SP to use. It has a base HP of 8, going up to 26 when the player is at max level, and it also has 1 defense. It has 2 moves, which is Flame Stab. It will stab a random enemy for 3 damage, no piercing, plus 3 turns of level 1 burn. The second move is called Enchant. The Flame Warrior will enchant a random player's next attack with the burn effect for 5 turns, just like Free Fire basically. This summon is meant to be a bridge between Gorilla and Red and Blue, having more of a powerful main attack than Gorilla, plus a helpful support move, with the drawbacks of being unable to pierce defense. And my opinion is, I like it, but I do think just like Red and Blue, it should have 2 turns, because like it is kind of weak in a way, and since it can't be like summoned again like Call Gorilla, I do think it should have the ability to like act twice in a single turn. But other than that, I do agree with you, and I would say it is pretty balanced. I like it. This one was made by Alfie, and it's a rather simple card called Regeneration. It costs 2 BP to equip and 3 SP to use. The max stacks of this is 5. It gives the target level 2 HP regeneration for 3 turns. And that's it. It's really simple, really straightforward, but again, that's not a bad thing. I do feel like people will say this is like a worst cure or something, but honestly, I really like it because I can just use this card on myself and passively regain HP without having to waste so much SP using cure or something constantly. But yeah, I really like it. I like the card art, and even though the concept is like really basic, I really love it. Hopefully something like this gets added to the game one day, because it would be really useful. This card concept was made by Lin again, but the art was made by Alt-Ray. It's called Call Ghost Chef. He has his own little way of obtaining it, which I'll show on screen right now. But basically, when you summon him, he has 65 HP plus 3 HP per level. Call Ghost Chef has 4 basic moves and 1 special move, so we'll go over them individually. The first is a Matcha Dorayaki, and he cooks this up, healing everyone by 3 HP, 3 SP, and 0.35 sword energy. This move will always be chosen if anybody's health is below 50%. The second one is Pan Hit. He'll float to a nearby enemy, pulling up a pan and hitting the enemy a 3 damage pierce, causing them to have Dizzy level 2 and Confusion level 2, and floats back. Halfway through, he tosses an egg, dealing 1 damage at the enemy. His third ability is called Seasoning. He will add seasoning to a pan, giving him the charging up effect. Now, on his next turn, if he has a charge up effect, he will perform a move called Full Course Meal. What this move does is he will give the entire party 10 HP and SP, he will give HP and SP regen level 5 for 2 turns, charge defense for 3 turns, and charge level 5. After that, he'll be exhausted for 2 turns. And honestly, my thoughts on this are, I think the first 2 moves are perfectly balanced and like should stay perfectly where they are, but even though the full course meal has like a little charging up effect, I know he costs 15 SP to summon and how he needs to have like a charge up effect, and I know how he'll be exhausted for 2 turns after, but still all of that is still like really like overpowered obviously. Since he's a chef, I do think you should remove the charge buff he gets from the full course meal, and everything else should remain the same, and maybe increase his exhaustion to 3 turns. If you do those changes, I think it will be perfect. I really love this card and I love this concept, and I really want a Ghost Chef summon to be in the game at some point, but I don't really think they'll do it. But I love this concept anyways. Just do that one little change and yeah, it's perfect. The last and final card concept for this video is made by Alien Thing. The card concept is called Brick. It costs 4 BP to equip, 5 SP to use, and 15 HP to use too. It's an active card, and when you use that, you make any ally have +6 attack for 4 turns. The downside of this card is when you use it, you lose 3 turns and take 15 damage. But that's it. It also can't stack, and I think this card is really overpowered, but for good cause. Not good cause, but like for good reason. I don't really think anything needs to be changed. Maybe increase the BP cost to 5 because it is overpowered even with all of the other debuffs and drawbacks. But yeah, that's it. That was the final card concept and I like it, so. And that concludes the card concept video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, if you guys want to be a part of future videos just like this one, join my Discord in the pinned comment. But what did you guys think about these concepts? Did you like them, dislike them? Tell me in the comments. But thanks for watching. See ya!